Okay,
You get that every day, email? You just delete it, or you sort it 10 by 10?
actually I do, but sometimes I read it, sometimes I don't. I just,
Go back and read that. It's worth it. I mean, I've never seen an article that blunt. Quote, you can only stick a finger in somebody's eye so long before they stick a finger back. That was the speaker's office.
so it says quote.
That was the speaker's office.
Okay.
I wonder if he's running for I wonder if he's got an opponent.
Just shocked if he doesn't now.
Call this meeting of the Columbia County Board of Commissioners to order for this March 29th, 2016. Before we have our invocation, many of you know that past Commissioner Diane Ford passed away this week. She had been a commissioner for District 3 for 16 years, served probably as long as anybody has ever served on the commission. Did a good job for her district, and before our invocation, I would like for us to have a moment of silence in her honor for the 16 years of service she gave to Columbia County and in her memory. If you would, please join me in a moment of silence. Lord, we thank you for the people that serve in all facets of government, whether it's federal, state, or local levels. We thank you for those that are committed to work the best they can for the people that they represent. And we thank you, Lord, that there are people like that in our community and around the state and around the nation. For this meeting tonight, Lord, we ask for your guidance in the decisions we make, that everything said and done here will be in accordance mainly with thy will and also in the best interests of the constituents we serve. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Would you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good man, Mr. Driver.
We do have a quorum tonight with all 5 members of the commission present. We have had a busy month. We have 3 items to approve the minutes. First being the commission meeting of March the 15th, 2016. If you are satisfied with their content, we'll accept a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any items needing any clarification? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Our second item is our budget work session for March the 15th, 2016. If you're satisfied with those minutes, we'll accept a motion also.
So moved.
Motion is second. All in favor? And finally, the budget work session of March 22nd, 2016. Approval of those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
No discussion. All in favor? Mr. Johnson, I believe I have one addition to the agenda. Do you have others? Mine is under presentations, another appeal for denial of a temporary alcohol permit for Thomas Hill for Maryland Fried Chicken.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that would be in addition to another appeal that we have. And also, we would ask that you consider adding I-2E1A as a property tax refund for Abigail Ortiz, I-2E1B, ad valorem tax refund for Jeffrey McGee, rather. Both of these are at the request of the tax commissioner. And then Mr. Driver will present 2 legal matters, if you're so inclined. One will be a SciTech settlement and release, and the other will be an appeal for stop work order issued to Magnolia Valley. I believe that's an update on that, would be items J1 and J2.
Okay. You have those, I believe, on your agenda in red, and we'll incorporate those into the agenda in addition to the one mentioned earlier under presentations. Again, I'd like to welcome you to this meeting of the Board of Commissioners. These proceedings are videotaped. If you would like a copy of the tape, You may obtain one through a request from our county clerk here, Ms. Patrice. Also, that these will be available for viewing on the county website in a couple of days. And I believe that's the only sources we got anymore since we lost our TV coverage. Remind you, too, that you're invited to speak to this body if you're not already on the agenda or have not already filled out a speaker form. We ask that you fill one out in the back of the room, bring it up to Ms. Crawley, and we'll recognize you at the proper time during the meeting. We go now to our special recognitions, which is a good time every meeting here at the county. Pam Tucker has been busy with the latest CERT class, and I believe we have a graduation tonight. This is team group number 25. And I believe, Gary, you're working with those on this graduation?
This is CERT Group 25 graduation, and we calculated the hours that these fine folks have put in, 721.25 hours since middle of February when we started training. That includes the instructors, all of whom volunteer for this. So we're very, very proud. It's to you, and as I call the name, if you'll come forward, I think Susie has told you what there. First is Deborah Anderson. Deborah is currently a student at Augusta Tech studying marketing so that she can start her own business for survival and first aid kits. She loves to cook and likes scuba diving. Dennis Brown. Dennis is a local team member for Concerned Veterans of America, a veterans advocacy group, and as an Army aviator, Dennis says he has had 9 more takeoffs than landings. Y'all know what that means, right? Parachute. Kenny Clayton. Kenny retired from the military in January 2013, and he's currently a Columbia County school bus driver. Kenny loves being part of a team and going to University of Georgia football games. Corey Cook. Corey works at Augusta University in grants administration and is also a certified motorcycle instructor. Corey will be participating in her first triathlon this spring. Jose Del Valle. Jose is a dispatcher at the Department of Emergency Services 911 Center at Fort Gordon. He is retired from the U.S. Army after 20 years of service and traveled all over the world. He is a DDS driver instructor, CPR instructor, and a certified Georgia Peace Officer. Maria Del Valle. Maria is a registered nurse at Eisenhower Army Medical Center, and Maria enjoys traveling and motorcycle riding. Benjamin Ernest. Benjamin is a motor vehicle registrar with the Columbia County Tax Commissioner's Office and a member of the Columbia County EMA Dive Rescue and Recovery Team. Denny Hale. Denny is currently in the process of pursuing a new career as a merchant marine. His dream job would be to work with wild animals such as elephants and tigers. Matthew Heaton. Matthew is currently on active duty with the U.S. Air Force at Fort Gordon and an Eagle Scout. He says that once he sang Wild Thing in front of 1,000 people at an American Gladiators dinner show.
All right.
Sasha Holly. Sasha is a motor vehicle registrar with the Columbia County Tax Commissioner Office, and she is was a volunteer after Hurricane Katrina and the tornadoes in Alabama. Lori Hughes. Lori is a sale merchandiser with Anderson Merchandisers, distributing books, movies, video games, computer, music, and more to major retailers. Lori has been researching her family history for 15 years, and although she did not grow up in Columbia County, she's discovered that many of her ancestors did live in this area at one time. Brian Langley. Brian is a full-time student majoring in psychology and criminal justice. He's also an Eagle Scout who loves all things outdoors. Bill Leshaft. Bill is retired and currently works at Chuck and Bill, the T-shirt guys, a promotional items company. He played and coached ice hockey, was a supervisor of off-ice officials for the Kentucky Thoroughblades and the Augusta Lynx. Bill is also a Civil War enthusiast and certified as a ghost fighter at Chickamauga National Military Park. Joseph Lowe. Joseph is the owner of JVL Landscaping Limited, a tractor for hire company. He's visited 49 states, and he has taught disco dancing in San Jose, California. But these classes have been fun. That's all I can say. Dr. Gerald May. Gerald is retired from the Savannah River site as an engineer in technical management in the areas of safety, quality assurance, and transportation. Keely McDaniel. Keely is a maintenance worker with Columbia County Roads and Bridges. He enjoys woodworking, chess, Texas Hold'em poker. He also likes pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. He wrote that. I don't think he made it up. Pat McMiniman. Pat is an educator at Evans Middle School and a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. She's visited all 50 states, certified scuba diver, looks forward to visiting Australia and diving with the great white sharks. Mike Murphy. Mike is the Network Operations Manager with Columbia County Broadband Utility and a lifelong resident of Columbia County. Jason Nolly. Jason is a utility worker with Columbia County Stormwater. Jason is also a freelance graphic designer and is studying to become a falconer. Linda Parnell. Linda is the owner of Saintly Gifts Incorporated, going in its 25th year of business. Linda has skydived at the age of 50 and is ready to do it again when she turns 60. Just wait till you get 60 to decide that. You might change your mind. Did Rick Richards come? Okay, Rick Richards. Rick is a family and emergency physician and a physician executive, currently doing consulting work and running his own companies. His interest in disaster management and medicine began in high school whenever he observed 2 accidents. Pierce Truesdale. Pierce is a heavy equipment operator with Columbia County Stormwater and is also a member of the Columbia County EMA Dive Rescue and Recovery Team, and he is a historical reenactor. Jeremy Wall. Jeremy is a lean technician with Club Car. He rides his bicycle, and once he got reported to Columbia County by a citizen as a flying saucer. He's got one of those bikes. Yeah, Google it. I did. Rick Ward couldn't be here, but Rick is retired, a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He was born north of the Mason-Dixon line, but he's lived here since 1968. Wonderful guy. He had an accident today, so he wasn't able to be here. And last but not least, Elwood Warwick. Come on up. Elwood retired from the U.S. Army Military Police as Chief of Augusta Mall Security and from Procter & Gamble Security. He currently volunteers with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office Auxiliary and Whole Life Ministries. So these people have now been trained on how to save a life, how to get you if you're trapped when a tornado hits, how to stop bleeding, open airways, treat shock, get you out of a bad situation and turn off your utilities. They're trained to do that. So we greatly appreciate the volunteer time and effort, over 700 hours that have been put in. And if you will, give them a huge sound of applause. Thank you. And thank you, Commissioner Richardson. You want to
Would like to congratulate each and every one of these. And Ms. Tucker, how many do you have total now? 533. That is awesome. You're out, you have an accident or somewhere, we're getting to a number now where there's a good chance there's somebody that's going to be very close that can help out and make a difference in life savings. So thank y'all very much. We appreciate it.
Kind of like your old school days, isn't it?
Thank you. I owe you one.
The board thanks each and every one of you because we know this is not a small commitment.
Gracious. Whatever you say. Gracias.
Gracious.
You're gracious, too. He looks good for 86.
You don't look a day over 85.
You didn't turn it.
I'm okay if I didn't turn it.
Be up here.
We should have done that last, so we'd make them stay around for the commission meeting.
I was just thinking that.
Well, they're probably glad to be away from you after 7 weeks, Pam, now, come on.
Oh,
I understand you are pretty tough on them. A great job, and thank you for what you do with that program. Very valuable to the county. Before we go on any further, I'd like to recognize Travis Highfield over here. Travis is the new reporter from the Chronicle covering Columbia County. He's been doing a lot of stories, a lot of interviews, trying to give us some good press for a change. So we appreciate you being here.
He'd come
Thank
back
you.
again.
Now we have a couple of appeals concerning denial of temporary alcohol permit. The first one is concerning Dreamweaver's Hair Salon, Eustacia Allen, and I apologize if that pronunciation is wrong. Would you come on up and give us your name and address?
My name is Eustacia Allen. As stated, I am one of the owners of Dreamweavers. We're located 4497 Columbia Road, which is located in the Columbia Town Center. I always use the Little Caesars because everybody knows Little Caesars. So we're in that plaza.
are you actually in the same building, the same strip as Little Caesars, or are you in one of the warehouses behind it?
No, we're actually in the strip with the Little Caesars.
Okay,
Probably 3 or 4 doors down, right next to
thank you, ma'am. Gotcha.
Mr. Johnson, you want to give us a little bit of the reasoning for this denial?
I will, Mr. Chairman. As you know, the Board of Commissioners has given the ability to approve temporary alcohol permits to myself and the Division Director over the Building Standards Division. So when Ms. Hall gets an application like this, we review these on a pretty regular basis. And temporary alcohol licenses, according to our code, are for special events. There are certain things they can and can't do. Obviously, we look at each one of these individually on its merit, and the issues that we have with this particular one was it is not in what we would consider an S1 district, where a place where you would normally have a gathering such as Savannah Rapids or Bel Air Conference Center or one of those types of places. It is in a commercial establishment. One of the things that was brought to our attention was the hours that were associated with this particular request. It is, I believe it's 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., and they were asking to sell distilled spirits as well.
That's not correct.
That's what's on the application.
I know, I apologize, that was my first time filling it out, but no, the actual hours of the event, and again, it's our event, we're gonna control it, I will be there personally controlling it. So the hours that we had established was 8:30, and we said 1 o'clock because that is when we're gonna be leaving. But of course, we can adjust that if that's a factor, that's not an issue. Just kind of factor in the time frame as far as you know, when you're having an event, most people probably come a little later than you expect or whatever, and by the time you cover what's going to be covered, it may run over to that time frame. But that's not an issue at all. Definitely limited to 4 hours, and that was our ultimate goal, about a 4-hour window. And as well, we won't be selling anything. The only thing we're going to be offering is the champagne, because it's an event celebrating our first year in open, and we had champagne and wine items, so we won't be selling anything.
But you're not selling these,
No.
You're not selling beer, wine, or distilled spirits?
No, not at all. We're not selling anything.
Well, that's a game changer. I mean,
And that's a
that's
huge
completely
difference.
different than what the request is. The request came to us as being able to sell beer, wine, and distilled spirits, and it going till 1 a.m. Is this a private party, or is it open to the public?
No, it's private. It's a private.
It's a private event that you're gonna have champagne
Right,
at your
champagne.
private event,
We'll be offering wine and champagne.
and it's not for sale.
Not for sale. I only have 4
Then I
bottles.
don't believe she needs a,
So once that runs out.
she doesn't
then-
need a temporary alcohol license, is that correct? If it's a private event and she has no items for sale, she can have that private event wherever she would want to have it, as long as she owns the business. And if, so you have no need for an alcohol license. You can have that event as long as you don't open it to the public and you don't sell alcohol, you don't need this license.
Well, that's new.
So
But
you can
I'm glad
absolutely
I
do
came
it.
Because I didn't know about what's going on here, so I'm like excited. I am also in the military, so I'm originally from this area. Then I've been away for 16 years. So when I came back here, again, opened up a business with my partner and looking to purchase my home in Columbia County. So this is good stuff. for
We'll
me.
be glad to have you.
That's why I was.
Mr. Herbert wants to talk to you right afterwards.
He'll
right
sell
behind
you
you,
a home,
houses.
right?
Thank you. Any
Well,
more
that's, well then, thank you, Ms. Allen. Yeah, I mean, that clears it up. Like I said, that the purpose of these licenses are more for sale and
questions? Okay,
to raise revenue.
that's good information for me as a business.
And one of the reasons why we did this so quick and had her come to appeal is because I just got this item, I reviewed it yesterday, so we didn't really have a chance to talk about this. We wanted to make sure she had her opportunity to appeal it before her event. Had we had maybe a week, we might have been able to work it out prior to the commission meeting. So I apologize for bringing it up here, but I'm glad it's worked out in your favor. We probably could have done that earlier, but I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
No problem, thank you. Okay,
That was easy.
I think for the record, we probably need a motion to allow this based on change of circumstance where there is no sale of alcoholic beverage,
I don't think it doesn't require any action. She can have that.
but we have on record a denial of this request. We need to have something to clear it up,
The
Councilman.
denial of sale, so that
Right.
would still stand.
Yeah, the denial, as long as she's giving it away and it's the way it is, I think we'd be okay.
You don't think we need any action at all?
Now, I would clarify, as long as there's not other sales going on, it may not be the alcohol, but you can't have it tied to a party where we're selling things on a commercial zone. So if it's just a celebration, that's a different story.
Mr. Morris?
I just wonder if on the form, it could indicate, she was confused about that. It does just say alcohol, beverage information, alcohol served, mark all that apply, beer, wine, distilled spirits. Maybe it could clarify, not for sale, or items will be, and it's a private party, not, anyway, maybe look at the form. That's all.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. But I hope we will, Madam Clerk, have some explanation of why this was heard and the change of circumstance. Because these things get old real quick after a while.
Agreed.
The second one that we're looking at is concerning a denial of a temporary alcohol permit for Maryland Fried Chicken, Mr. Thomas Hill.
How's everybody doing today?
Evening.
You.
Oh, I'm awesome. My name is Thomas Hill. My wife and I come up here because we own the Maryland Fried Chicken over here on 4465 Washington Road, and we were. Do I need to get into the reason why we want the?
I think it'd be fine, we can talk about why we deny this one, but sure, I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay, yeah, we were just trying to. We've had a. This is my lovely wife, Charlotte. I just want to bring her up here and show off.
Welcome. Commission meeting.
He gets a little nervous speaking, and this was more so my idea opposed to his idea. That's why I wanted to come up and speak. Our situation is totally different from hers because we were actually selling alcohol, because I was under the impression that to sell alcohol for a special event. But after speaking to Hagan, I realize now that a special event for me may not necessarily be a special event for the commissioner. The whole reason behind this was to maximize the of our space. Don't want to serve alcohol on a daily basis. That's why we did not apply for an alcohol license. My uncle is Tony Howard. He's well known as throughout the community, and tested doing. Tried the karaoke night, it went over really well, but we had a lot of guests. We wish we could have a cold beer or a glass of wine. So I was like, hey, I can get a one-day permit, and we can run it that way. So we applied for the one-day permit, and that's pretty much where we are now. So again, our circumstance is totally different. Again, we were looking at it as a special event, planning on doing the first Thursday in April. If it was a successful event, we were looking at doing the event again. So if, the appeal is denied, I guess we need to know what will we need to do in order to be able to do that without actually serving every day, because we don't want to serve alcohol every day. We want to keep it a family atmosphere in the restaurant. And the hours that we were looking at for the event was from 8:30 until 7:30. We don't want to be out all night. We're not trying to keep anybody else out, all times of the night or whatever, but it was just a fun event that we had. We had people inquiring about beverages, adult beverages.
And, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the reason we looked at this one, as you well know, Columbia County has in our alcohol ordinance, at a food establishment, there has to be a certain percentage of food versus alcohol sold. And we hold our other local businesses to that. So we felt like, because this is their normal operation, their normal business, all they're doing a special event, what it essentially does, and I understand, I actually think it's a great idea, and I can tell you that they've done a great job with Maryland Fried Chicken. We appreciate you being in the community. Glad y'all bought that and that you're doing that. But what it essentially does, and I know this is not their intent, but it turns it into, they had from 9 to midnight, if it's 8:30 till 11:30 or whatever, it essentially turns it into a bar from those hours on that particular night, because it's an open commercial establishment. Anybody can walk in and buy a beer, and the commission has not approved an ordinance to allow us to do that. So out of an abundance of caution, we denied this, but again, gave them the opportunity to appeal it, which you're here to do today. But that was the basis of our denial, was the fact that in essence, it turns it into a bar between those hours in a commercial district, in a restaurant that would normally be held to a different standard.
And it creates a precedent for any commercial outlet that might want to do that
Yeah, and then it becomes,
twice or whatever a year.
That was our rationale, but certainly we'll yield, obviously, to the will.
do we have any provision, I imagine we don't allow consumption on a property without a license. Is there any kind of BYOB concept that could work for a business establishment?
Actually, it's to the contrary. I think the BYOB in a commercial establishment is prohibited by state law.
That's what I was saying. I didn't think you could without a license.
Can't brown bag
On
it
the- Yeah,
into-
even on
to a
the
commercial
premises.
establishment.
Right,
Some
that's,
limitations with corking fees and.
Yep.
right, that's what I was thinking. So they would have to have corking, but corking fees could be a way around that.
Yeah,
But even a corking fee would still require a,
it's pretty limited. and
Permit.
It wouldn't
Okay.
apply in this situation.
Question. For this particular event, could we just offer alcohol without selling it? Would that be, because, the only reason why I'm asking, we've already started promoting it.
Right.
Because it's so, you know what I mean, and we don't want to back out, but, you
I
know,
think that
we have to.
that goes towards what you were saying about using it as an incentive to promote sales of other items and.
So whether or not you're charging an admission of any sort, or you're actually selling food, or, I guess it would actually be better, but selling anything there or selling it, admission tickets, problem.
Okay, we're definitely not doing the restaurant. The normal restaurant hours are from 11 during the day until 9 at night. So that's why we were starting the event at 8:30, because we normally die down between 8:15, 8:30. So we don't normally have regular customers coming in that time of night. So that's the reason why we were starting at 8:30. And then again, we closed at 9, so we were extending it an hour and a half after closing time. So there wasn't going to be any admission as far as charging people to come in. We were planning on, serving appetizers and, like I said, beer, and wine. And mainly what we're trying to do is get more
Yeah,
traffic
advertising,
through there. A lot of people know that we're there. A lot of people have been to Maryland's before, but they had a bad experience at Maryland's because of things that happened with the previous owners. So we're just trying to basically let people know that we're here. We're doing things the way that they're supposed to be done. We're a better business than what was there before, and we have all of this space. And there are different things that I felt like we could use that space for, but I'm kind of wondering now what the limitations and stuff are. So that was my reason for questioning about the actual liquor license. So if we apply for a liquor license in order to do a one-day permit, will we be required to sell alcohol every
That's what
day?
I was going to suggest to you. I think you could apply for a beer and wine license for your restaurant and only serve it when you chose to serve it.
Okay.
You would still be subject to the food versus alcohol sales, but if you only served it in a limited period of time, you would be well within, I would think you'd be within those guidelines. So that's probably your best bet, is just to apply for it, have your license, and then if you wanted to do these events, if the commission approved that license, obviously, and you wanted to do these events from time to time, you would be able to do it. And certainly, I think you'd have a better chance with beer and wine. Well, distilled spirits is a different issue in Columbia County, but as long as you weren't trying to sell liquor and just beer and wine and applied for that license, I think you may be better off, but.
Have separate issues of having alcohol used, giveawaying alcohol as promotional items. That's not allowed as well. If this is a private party with family or, friends, that's something else, but using alcohol and giving away alcohol as promotional is not permitted.
But if you sold it, if you got the regular license and you sold it, like you said, one time a month,
Right,
from the hours of 8 to midnight, if that's decided when you want to stay open,
okay.
I think that would be permissible, but to get that license.
Yeah. Well, actually, you could not have any sales during lunch, and you could serve it every evening if you wanted to
Yes,
with the beer and wine license.
good,
Whatever.
Which
yeah.
might be the best alternative.
yeah.
I mean, I agree with Administrator Johnson. I think it's actually a very good idea, and I don't think there's anything wrong with you guys having beer available as an option, beer or wine, for that matter,
But for
just a
this-
dining establishment.
But for this date, they can't do that because of the time limitations.
There's
which
no,
the-
because that requires a background check according to our ordinance, fingerprints. I mean, they would have to go through the process of applying for that and then it being heard by the Board of Commissioners. So you could start that process at any time, you just wouldn't be able to get it for the April 7th. There's no way that we would be able to get it done that quickly.
That's fine, and I appreciate all. I was nervous, coming in because again, this is our first business together as owners. And bless my husband's heart, he's a railroad man. He's not a restaurant man. So he's doing his best. He's helping me out a lot. But I didn't know that this is where they hold commission meetings. So Alan, I'm excited to be here and actually be a part, because we want to be a part of the community. And we also reside in Richmond County, but we're looking at.
Come on, girl.
Mr. Herbert's got a house.
This is going to be a good night for Mark back there.
I think the CERT graduation that we just observed kind of sealed the deal for him. Because
Yeah, I was at the last meeting, and I was impressed, you guys praying and,
So,
the Pledge of Allegiance, and
thank
I was
you.
like, wow,
And it'll take less than 4 hours for us to have this meeting, I promise you.
But Chairman Cross can be scary.
Now, I've met him before. I met him at St. He's
But you would go through the same process. You would just go back down and see Ms. Hall in licensing and
Okay.
permitting, I believe, and we could walk you through the process of
Okay.
applying for a regular
okay,
license, and then we can start that process, and that'll come before this board for a vote.
awesome. Thank you
Sweet.
guys so
yeah,
much.
thank you.
Beer and wine is much cheaper than the full spirits.
It is. It's
As
much
much as-
cheaper license for you to buy anyway,
Oh,
so.
really?
Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
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 And we do give discounts to county employees, just to let you know.
Man,
Thank you.
Thank you for waiting until after your appeal to point that out. Yeah, appreciate that.
Council, we need to take action on this appeal, don't we? We need to take action on this appeal.
Yes.
What's your feeling, gentlemen? That
We
we-
want to do it now, or is it later in the agenda? Or?
No, I think this is
All
on.
right. Well, then I'd like to make a motion to uphold to approve, or I guess uphold the
Denial.
staff's denial.
Second.
Any further questions? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. We'll go now to our consent agenda. All these items that's gone through committee and got the necessary 3 votes to be placed on the consent agenda. We approve all of these items as one vote with your permission.
So moved.
Second.
Any items, any clarification? Not all in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay. Go now to our debate agenda, and I believe we go back to some previous items with Commissioner Duncan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 16-03, amending Part 1, Article 5, Division 2 of the Code of Ordinances of Columbia County, Georgia, to provide for an effective date and to repeal any conflicting ordinances. Second.
This is to bring in the Board of Elections ordinances in compliance with state law, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any further questions? All in favor? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the second reading of Resolution 16-1218, amending the services and fees schedule for broadband utility to repeal any conflicting resolutions and to establish an effective date.
And this is to bring our broadband utility rates up to be competitive with the free market or private sector.
Well, it's actually still wholesale services, so we're not actually competing with the free market retail rates.
But to bring them up to the wholesale level.
Wholesale rates.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All in favor? Okay. Go now to Vice Chair Allen.
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 16-04, amending Chapter 78 on taxation, Article 5, occupational tax and licenses to provide for an effective date and to repeal any conflicting ordinances.
And this is to exempt first responders from having to have a business license to do various duties around the community.
Correct.
Further questions?
Did we get a second? I'll second.
Well, that way I said. You're not going to speak up. All in favor? Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 16-05, revising Chapter 82, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Parking, Division 4, inoperative vehicles and trailers to provide for an effective date and to repeal any conflicting ordinances.
Second.
And this is the second and final reading because we only do it twice. And this is clarifying some definitions and timing of vehicles allowed on streets.
Yes, sir.
Discussion. All in favor? Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve the second reading of Resolution 16-1215 and 16-1216 to establish streetlight districts for Rhodes Farm, Section 2B and 3B.
Second.
This is to light some residential sections. All in favor? We skip a little bit, but I believe we stay with Vice Chair Allen.
Sir, we go into new business instead of second readings. I would like to make a motion to approve the request of the rezoning from PUD to PUD to adopt the new master development plan for the plaza at Evans Town Center dated February 15th, 2016, tax map 072, parcel 231R, going from one PUD to the other.
Correct.
Second.
Motion and a second, but this going from one PUD to the other does contain an awful lot of rigid requirements
Yes, sir.
or whatever goes on that property after quite a while of beating them to death.
That's correct.
Yeah. Other discussion, all in favor?
I would like to make a motion to approve the rezoning from M2 to M1 located at 5104 Pierce Court.
Second.
This is down zoning from 2 to 1 and allows some variances for some setbacks, I believe.
Setbacks will be in the next.
This is rezoning. We'd have another item.
Zoning.
This is a
Okay.
rezoning, yes, sir.
Excuse me? All in favor?
I would like to make a motion to approve the request of a variance to Section 90-98, List of Lot and Structure Requirements, located at 5104 Pierce Court, currently zoned M2, not any longer, General Industrial, to remove the maximum front setback requirements and reduce the rear setbacks on submitted lots 3A, 3B, and 3C shall be reduced to 20 feet.
I'll second.
And this is an area that those setbacks are compatible with what's there, and I believe you're dealing with the railroad tracks also.
correct.
Andrew has fill you in any further information you need.
Yes, sir, that's, now, to clarify too, there were a number of other conditions that were those.
Well, that was the setbacks and the, that was the-
I think the other things were included. The only thing that was excluded was number one, the 20, from 30 to 20 foot setback.
were the other things included in the rezoning to M1 Line Industrial?
No, these are,
We don't have that on our information. Is that, we need to add that, Mr. Allen?
I mean, I don't have a problem adding that to the motion to approve, but we just need to make sure that those are in there. Where are we? Do we already have a second? We had a-
you do.
I don't,
Why don't you just amend the motion to say, to include the conditions
Okay.
put on by planning and zoning?
I will amend the motion to include the conditions originally approved by Planning and Zoning Committee.
Do we have a second for that?
for a second.
Okay, we vote on that amendment. All in favor? And the amendment passes. We don't need to vote on the initial motion.
All right, sir.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the alcoholic beverage license for Southeastern Food Service and Event Consulting LLC, DBA Farmhouse Burger.
Second.
This is a new restaurant, I think, that's coming out on the Wheeler Road area,
Yes, sir.
in addition to the one they have downtown.
Look forward to him being here.
Hi, it's half a mile from my house.
Right. All in favor? Okay.
When are they hoping to open? You know, the building is,
Seemed like I was told it was gonna be later this summer when the building was finished and they were moved in.
okay. I would like to make a motion to approve an alcoholic beverage license for MHM Motel LLC, doing business as Hyatt Place, right next door.
Second.
And this is their restaurant in there, this is just, or is this just a lounge?
I believe it is a restaurant. I believe they have a restaurant as well.
That I'm not sure about.
I'm not sure if it's a full-service restaurant. Is, Aaron? It's a full-service restaurant.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
They're supposed to be ready by next week. Are they going to be?
I
heard
don't think they're going to make
They
masters.
were not going to be, but I don't know for sure.
Much to their chagrin, I don't believe they're going to make masters.
No way.
Commissioner Duncan, we have some items added.
Yes, sir, we do. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the property tax refund for 5174 Saddle Circle owned by Abigail Ortiz, the amount of $4,942.18 due to her being classified as 100% disabled and unemployable due to her service-connected duties.
Second.
Mr. Johnson, I have one question on this. I think they're going back to 3 years, but I don't believe they went back the full stretch, because she was classified disabled in 2011.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, and I actually asked the tax commissioner about this. I believe if you go back and look through the rest of the paperwork, it was classified as 2011.
But the first tax year was 2012?
But, correct, and she didn't get the benefits until the Department of Army acted on that, which was actually in 2014. The letter that we have dated here was the personal claim information that actually summarized the benefits that this person could receive, and said that they were entitled to all these things effective July 31, 2014. But after speaking with the tax commissioner, he felt like that it was a fair claim to refund 13, 14, and 15.
All right, so you're satisfied that this is as good as we could?
I am in this
Rectify the
matter, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the refund of the ad valorem tax on VIN number JA4LS31H6YP012583 in the amount of $1,817.86 due to a clerical error.
And this was where it was, the value was placed wrong, and then there was a double taxation situation or something like that?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. It was a wrong classification for the vehicle. They have been paying taxes on the vehicle They, all the way back to tax year 2009, which were due March 2010. The tax commissioner has requested a full refund for these years, not just the 3 years that
Good.
you would normally go back.
Because this was a clerical error on our part.
That is correct.
All in favor? Legal matters, Mr. Driver?
We have two legal matters tonight. One, we had a dispute over a change order with the contractor on the Crooked Tree Storm Drainage Project. We have Gary Bennett from the county if you want more information on it, but after negotiations, we have worked it out, and what you have before you is lease agreement, releasing all claims against the county.
Mr. Slaughter, you've been involved in this. Are you satisfied with this final settlement?
Well, actually, sir, I kind of excuse myself from this. Mr. McGee is related to me, as his wife, Mrs. McGee, they are here, so I've stepped out of this and let County Attorney Driver and staff run with this.
I have reviewed it, Mr. Chairman.
You're satisfied with the agreement?
I am satisfied with the agreement as it stands now.
And on recommendation of council that we should go ahead and accept this?
That is correct. I believe he worked with Mr. McGee's lawyer as well on this settlement.
Do we have a motion to approve this settlement?
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
This will be over and complete, or is it point?
It's over and complete unless there's a warranty issue later on, but it.
Excuse me, Gary. Any further questions? All in favor? Okay.
We also have a appeal from Magnolia Valley that we need to deal with. It's been requested to push that to the next meeting, which is April 19th. I would recommend granting that request.
I make a motion to grant the request and move that item to April 19th meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion of this? All in favor? We have any commissioner comments? Ms. Crawley, we have any additional requests to speak? None? We have one item on executive session that I think we've agreed we can just go ahead and take up in an open session. Mr. Duncan, I believe you have the final item of the night, we hope.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve promoting Anthony Deckert from light equipment supervisor to shop manager at $23.44 per hour, promoting Anthony Taylor from mechanic 1 to light equipment supervisor at $19.94 per hour, promoting Van Manen from mechanic helper to mechanic 1 at $15.24 an hour, and eliminating the position of the mechanic helper.
Any discussion of these changes in our fleet services?
This saves county $5,000.
I would point out that it saves annual savings of $5,265 as a result of the hiring of a new fleet manager at minimum grade and being able to make these changes.
And this settles any changes made since Mr. Galloway resigned or retired?
Yes, sir. This gets us in a good place as far as fleet and the shop is concerned. I believe Ms. Reese is happy with these changes, and I think we're in a good place.
If Ms. Reese is happy with it, I'm happy with it too. All in favor? Any other business to come before this meeting of the commission? If not, is anybody ready to go home?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we adjourn and to celebrate.
I'll second.
I'm glad you did.
Motion and a second. All in favor? We are adjourned.
All righty.